Executive Exponential Leader is an innovative podcast that invites C-suite leaders from different countries and sectors, sharing with our audience the journey full of incredible experiences, exponential potentials, and insightful vision about a sustainable future in times of exponential technology. And today, our guest is Laurence Lafont, Vice President, Europe, Middle East, Africa, Google Cloud, former Chief Operating Officer at Microsoft France, Philanthropist, and international speaker. Welcome, Laurence.
Thank you, Lobna. I'm very pleased to be here with you today, and thanks for the invitation.
It's a pleasure to have you today with us. We are really curious to address many topics together today, starting from your great journey in the universe of technology innovation, till your involvement in as a social involver in many great initiatives, whether in France, but also at worldwide. So let's start by the first topic, named Great Experience of More Than 3 Decades. So you have held, Laurence, multiple leadership roles in your career in great companies like Oracle, Nokia, Microsoft, and from 2020, Google. Your universe is fully in technology, as said, innovation and cloud across many industries and sectors. So if you have to pick up 3 magic moments in such exponential journey, what will be these moments?
It's an interesting question. So indeed, I am, I used to say I'm a full tech product, right? So almost 3 decades, you're right, 27 years in technology since I graduated from my engineering school in France. And I'm really passionate about technology. I think that's why, I really enjoyed all my career in those great companies, small or big ones. And I'll come back to that in a minute. And really going through different experiences, which I think is one of the, it's not one great moment, but I really enjoyed all along my career being able to start in the, more development roles and then going into business development, sales, strategy, marketing, operations. I mean, I think I did a lot of the different facets of, the roles you can have in companies, and that was great and a great learning experience. But maybe reflecting on 3 moments, I would say one is certainly when I started at Orange, France Telecom at that time in France. And in 2000, it was the big internet moment, as you maybe recall, right? So I had the opportunity to leave to create my own startup with 2 associates. And so that was a big jump, right? Because you start in big company, it's very comfortable. And then, the excitement of trying something on your own, being more on the entrepreneurial side, taking some risks, learning a lot was really a great moment. It was short because it lasts for 1.5 years, but it was really intense because we managed to raise funds. We launched an internet company in France around knowledge sharing on the internet. So like Yahoo Answers, maybe you recall that service. It was a similar kind of service where people could ask questions and others would provide answers, on this kind of leveraging internet as a great platform to share knowledge and experience. So it was really fun, I have to say, and a great moment in my career for sure. I learned a lot there. The other one I think is maybe more on the not the personal side, but personal professional. When I actually was hired at Oracle, I was pregnant at that time, and so it was. I mean, still at that time, I was wondering, should I apply? Will I ever get a role? Because I was pregnant by 4 months, right? So I knew that I would start, but then I would have to stop for a couple of months. But then, you always wonder, okay, what people will think and so on. And so I had really at that time the great luxury of meeting one great leader at Oracle who was really full of trust. And said, I think, she's definitely going to be a great person, very involved and so on. And so let's go for it. And she really fought for it internally because, of course, of course, I don't know. I shouldn't say of course, because that shouldn't be natural. But at that time, a lot of people were saying, are you sure? Are you sure you want to really, bring a pregnant person and so on? And so that's, a moment that stayed in my, really as an important one for me and then for my commitment also to diversity and inclusion, because I think it's so important, right? And to give everybody of course, the chance we deserve to grow and and develop ourselves. So that was another one. And then maybe one of the latest great moments was really when I was at Microsoft. We spent some time also betting a lot on AI, and I'm sure we will talk again about this great technology and wave around artificial intelligence right now, and really looking at how can we really contribute to the society? How can we really not only, of course, help large companies, but also young people who are aside, not necessarily, core to those technologies, but how can we really create something where we help the young people grow and develop or reskill themselves thanks to artificial intelligence. And so I really spent a lot of time developing a big program there, which was really well recognized by the entire organization, where we had a very nice impact in the market. And so that was also a great moment, because it's really mixing technology, what you do at work, and what you can do with technology to also impact society, which is also, of course, very important for me.
As I was saying, that it was a tricky question, the first one, because we ask you to pick up 3 moments in a very intense and exponential journey, which is the purpose of the question as well. So topic 2 of our discussion, Laurence, is female leadership in business. So within a worldwide business journey, you led a huge portfolio of business solution and enterprise technology initiative across thousands of companies. Firstly, can we have a snapshot of this incredible business journey? And what are the main key of success in this competitive area of generating growth revenue? And you know it better than me. This is the challenge.
Yes, and I think, going through the different companies, I'm not going to, go into details on all of them, but through Orange, Oracle, Nokia, Microsoft, and now Google, obviously all of them have gone through massive transformations. And because also technology is evolving so rapidly, right? So you have to adjust, you have to adapt, you have to be ahead of those waves of technology to ensure that you can also help the customers and the society leverage at best, right? So I think some of the main maybe keys of success, at least from my own experience and learnings, is really on my side, first of all, getting that passion for technology and what you can really do with it. So being on the edge of innovation, what you can really drive to help companies transform, to help your own company grow, thanks to those, innovations, is really critical. And I think maybe my engineering background helped me, right? But going deep in terms of understanding what is the technology really driving in terms of potential impact, in terms of contribution to transforming, in the telco, for instance, when I was at Oracle, we were really looking at how you're transforming the telco industry, how you can really move from an older traditional way of approaching, the network and so on, to something brand new. We were at that time,
digital transformation and cloud. So we start talking a little bit about business journey, about your journey in different great company to achieve this new role at Google as well. So big tech companies are helping massively, and you start talking about large organizations to accelerate their digital transformation. And this is the challenge of everyone today, right? So from your great experience, what are the potential existing issues, and what are the main pillars that can accelerate digital transformation for the best customer experience? We start talking about customer and how it's very important to focus on them.
Yes, and it is certainly a tough challenge, right? So I think all organizations really acknowledge that it's not easy to transform. And this is really what I'm doing every day now at Google Cloud in my EMEA role, because I'm really focusing on our very large strategic customers in EMEA, and really looking at how we are helping those very large, very complex traditional companies really benefit from digital technologies, transform their products and services and so on. So reflecting on your question, I think, one of the key things I really see as critical, and it can be, I would say, either a derailer or on the contrary, an accelerator, is really the executive vision at the customer side on what you can do with technology and what you want to do in terms of really leveraging the technology to transform your organization. And you have some leaders, some CEOs with great vision, or very keen to learn and very keen to get people to help them, right? Beyond that great vision in terms of how they see their organization being transformed, how they see their product or services being transformed, and so on. And this is critical. I think if you don't have that, it's very, very difficult to really drive successfully those transformations. The other one is certainly the innovation mindset.
Yeah.
I mentioned a little bit earlier, right? How do you challenge
you start
the
talking
status
about
quo?
mindset.
Exactly. So how do you challenge the status quo? How do you bring this kind of innovation spirit within your organization? And I've seen a lot of great recipes, I would say, for that, right? Like, how do you bring startups in your own internal environment? How do you run hackathons on a regular basis to also get, all your employees, all your teams being part of that innovation process? How do you work as an open ecosystem with your partners, with your customers, and so on? And I think this is really this kind of more fertile environment that you can create to really drive innovation. And the third thing, of course, is culture and skills. And I think investing in talents, investing in people development, empowering the teams as well to bring ideas to life, right? So I think we all know that, the hierarchical models of management are no longer the most efficient ways of driving companies and really helping companies grow and transform, right? So creating these environment where people feel like they can contribute, they can bring their best ideas, and creating the opportunities for people to come with new ideas, I think is extremely important. And technology is there, right? So it's not a question of, hey, you need to really, you don't have the tools or the technology to transform. It's more, do you have the right environment, the culture to bring on board those technologies and to get the best out of it? So this agility, we talk a lot about how we can drive an agile culture with our customers, how you are effectively innovating, and failing and trying again and so on. So all this culture, which I think is very, very strong at Google, is something that we really look at also nurturing and working on with our customers to help them in this journey. And usually they really welcome that, right? Because it's not easy to do those transformations. And so getting those external perspectives is really helping a lot of those companies in their journey.
So the 3 point, the top-down decision maker, they need to have this vision and this willing to, to invite more engagement from people in the company. And the second one, it was the innovative mindset. That's very important, as you said. And the third one, it was the culture. And we start talking, like we talk about this with Frances Frey from Harvard Business School back to 3 days, I guess. She has an amazing book about leadership and how we can change the culture, upgrade the culture in the company. And she worked before with Google as well in Mountain View. I had the pleasure to meet her in this condition. And we had the privilege to have her like a few days back. She talked about the culture and how it's very important to work on it at the top level, and how it's very important to have the very clear the strategy for everyone in the company and not only for the executive people. And it was a funny moment when she said this. I was like, oh my God, everyone in the company needs to know the strategy. I know till now, unfortunately, in many companies, the strategy, it's up to everyone, right? But it doesn't mean everyone will know it, right? And will be interested to understand it. So
but bringing clarity on that is, as you say, right, very important, because if you don't have everybody, being very clear about the mission, right? And I think we talk more and more about the mission statement of companies, but for me, it's very linked to the strategy and how you are conveying that message to the entire organization. What are we here for, right? And so you have some companies who are very clear about their mission. They are spending a lot of time, right, at the C-level to really also establish that mission statement clearly, and then moving down in the organization to ensure that everybody can really embrace the same message, the same mission, and then understand the strategy that is directing everybody towards that mission. So it's super key. And I think over, when I reflect on my decades of work, it has improved a lot, right? I think the companies and we are putting more and more emphasis and focus on that, on ensuring that the mission is clear, the strategy is clear and well conveyed or inside the organization everywhere, right? Because I think it's so important. And when you hear the new generations coming to work, I mean, they want to understand the mission, they want to understand the vision, they want to understand, you know, what's the purpose of the company, why they are there, right? So I think it's forcing also effectively the all the executives to be very clear about that and to think through that, right? So yeah.
Yeah, and it's nice what you talk about when you talk about the young generation, because it's very, for them, they need those contextual elements to drive their mission and their purpose in the company as well. So very important.
Absolutely.
For them.
Absolutely.
True.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think again, you know, on the just going back on the executives, on the C-levels in the companies, and they have to be curious about technology. And here again, I have seen a big shift, right? Because I mean, maybe, you know, 10 years ago or even 5 years ago, I mean, a lot of, you know, CEOs would say, well, you know, this is not for me, this is for the CIO or the chief digital officer, and that's it, right? And let them work out how they're going to handle the technology and so on. Now, more and more, it's a board discussion, right? So more and more, of course, the CEOs want to understand better the technology, what you can do with it, and drive their strategy through also the best outcome, I would say, with technology, right? So we have really seen a shift in also the focus that the CEOs are putting on that, which is good, because I think, again, it's the first thing to do if you really want to drive, you know, a transformation, which is also leveraging at best digital technologies.
Yeah, the topic 4, it's about social involvement in time of exponential technology. And Laurence, in 2018, you were appointed president of Silver Valley. Can we have an idea about this, the mission of Silver Valley, firstly, and your role, and the main topics that are close to your heart in the chapter social involvement in general?
Yes, so Silver Valley is actually a non-profit association in France, and really gathering, I would say, the ecosystem of companies, organizations, public services who are really focusing on how you can create a better long life, if I can put it like that. So for the elder people, how do we really reinvent pretty much, you know, our society? How do we reinvent the products, the services to ensure that when we are 60, 70, 80, 90, we can still enjoy very much our life wherever we are. And so that's really at the core, I would say, of these association. And I really like it because I think, you know, of course, I mentioned diversity, inclusion matters very much to me. And this is one aspect which I think we haven't yet completely explored. We talk, of course, a lot about gender diversity, about disabilities, about, you know, religions and so on, right? LGBT plus, all of those things are extremely important. I think that the age diversity, right? So how you also ensure that you are focusing really well on the young people and also on the elder is really key. I mean, just to give one number, right? In Europe, by 2025, 1/3 of the population will be above 60 years old. Wow. We could say at 60 we're still young, right? But still,
yeah, we are still young.
Exactly, but you need to start thinking about. Of course, your life is very different because you're more looking at, okay, your retirement, what you want to do, and so on. And so really looking at how you have to transform the services at home, right? For instance, the products and how your home can be equipped for a better life, how you are looking at transportation, how you are looking at leisure. I mean, there are so many areas, all areas are impacted, right? And all companies have to start looking at that. So, and here again, I felt like technology, of course, has a key role to play because we can do so much with technology, with connected devices, with, you know, an environment where you can really help people stay as long as possible in their house instead of going, you know, into a more challenging, I would say, environment where it's not so easy, right, for people to stay when they're getting older. So again, here technology is playing a key role. And so I found very interesting to start looking at, okay, how can we contribute with startups and also helping the young generation and people who are more on the entrepreneurial side thinking about that, right? And it's really great. We just launched the top 40 of startups in Silver Valley in the elder economy, and we have great companies there who are really inventing new services, new things, to really help again the elder people. So that's one area where I'm very happy to be able to spend some time and contribute as much as I can to really help on the development of this domain. And because I think there's a lot of also great opportunities from an employment standpoint, from an economy standpoint, right? So companies we can develop in that space that will serve also these age in the society.
Unfortunately, we are living in a society where age is like a taboo, especially when you start being old, which is, for me, old, it means wisdom and experience. So it's not something bad, it's something very good. And we can learn too much, like impressively from these people who has this wisdom and experience. But unfortunately, the society stigmatizes this part as a taboo, which is very important to get involved in such initiative that focus on age in the right way.
Talking about fixed mobile convergence, something that I think the new generations even don't know what we're really referring to, right? But so that was really, yes, how again digital and those technologies can really help the companies innovate, think about the next wave of services also for the customers, the consumers. And so in all the companies I've been in, I think this is really core to it. And so being passionate about that has been really, I think, a key of success, and having a lot of innovators, of course, a lot of investments from an R&D standpoint on building the next wave of innovations, I think is critical to the success of those large companies, definitely, and the smaller ones. I think for startups, it's also very true. The second thing I think, which is really coming through in those different experiences I had, is really what I would call the passion for customers, and really being super focused on solving for customers' problems. So when I was at Nokia, I was in the smartphone division, the mobile phone division, and I was serving Orange worldwide, right? And so how do you help your customer really grow from a business standpoint? How do you help your customer embrace new devices like the smartphones we were pushing hard to launch in the market at Nokia at that time? It was challenging, I can tell you, but extremely rewarding when you see you can really create new opportunities from the customers, help them grow their portfolio of products and services, and so on and so forth. So being very much in a customer-centric environment, being very much in a listening attitude, I think is really paying off. That's what I have seen, I have to say, alongside all my career and my experience in those different companies, right? So being empathetic and being very much customer-focused is super important, whatever the environment is, I think, to drive success. And leading teams, I would say, with that kind of passion and ambition to deliver success for the customers is also extremely core and key to the success of those organizations and the individuals, right? So we used to say, don't sell products, but really sell solutions that can really help, again, tackle business problems from the customers is really key, right? So taking an outside-in view of what you do is very important. And then maybe the last thing is what I like, as this so-called challenger mindset, right? So the can-do attitude, the how can we do things differently attitude, which is also, I think, very key to success in those highly transforming, highly changing environments. Because if you stay on your laurels, if you are in the kind of status quo, you cannot move, right? And you cannot be successful. I think being either in a company who sells and who proposes those technologies, or being in the customers or organizations who are benefiting from those technologies on a daily basis.
So, Laurence, as you know, in AI Exponential Thinker, we create a new concept named it Share the Stage, where we open to the audience to receive their questions. And in this context, we pick up two questions. And the first question coming from Priscilla. She has 26 years old, and she writes to us from Netherlands, and she asked it. So rarely we listen to role models sharing hard times in their professional journeys. Please, can you share with us two major moments that were tough for you and how you navigate in such times?
So I'd say maybe the first one is when I was at Oracle, and when was that? In 2000, yes, 4. I started traveling a lot, and I had my children who were quite young, my 2 children at that time, and so it was really a moment of reflection for me, right? To say, okay, how do I cope with that from a work-life balance standpoint? How do I, I felt like, oh my God, I'm not doing the right things, with my children, and maybe, I'm not doing the right things also at work. So I had a little bit of a tough time and reflection. And then I really decided to try and take a step back and say, okay, how do you handle your equilibrium? Because I really had to, spend time with my children also, because it was very important for me and for, my balance. And so I really decided to take it easy, I would say, which I think was really also a good lesson for me, and that I really keep reminding and leveraging all the time, right? So really looking at, okay, it's okay if you're not here every day with your children, but when you're here, right? And so really looking at how you make a good use of your time, and when you're with your children at home, or when I was in France not traveling, I was really trying, for instance, to go to the school parties or events and so on, so being really there with them for important moments. And then sometimes I was not here for a full week because I was traveling in Asia Pac or in the US and so on, and finding, of course, moments and time to call them and so on, but having a different kind of interaction. And that was really yes, a great learning for me to say, you have to take the most of the moment and what you do when you do it, right? Being with your kids or being at work, but not trying to mix up everything and trying to do everything at the same time, because it just cannot fly, right? So, and again, these, work-life balance is very important to me. I'm not saying, it's perfect every day, because sometimes you feel like, oh my God, that was a tough week, I worked too much and so on, but still, really having that in mind and checking in, on, okay, do I feel good about my work-life balance? And this is something, of course, very personal, I think, right? And do I feel like when I am at home, or when I am, having a dinner with my husband and so on, I'm there and not, at work, or I don't have the work in my head time, or and vice versa. So I think that was an important moment of reflection, tough, but that turned out to be also a great experience, I think. And
quite challenging, generally.
Yeah, it's always, and I think, and we know that as women, maybe, it's, I don't know why, maybe we put, even more expectations on ourselves, or maybe it's just like we need, right, to have these strong equilibrium. And so it's important, I think, and certainly an advice for everybody to say, think about it and find your own balance, but make it easy for you as well, right? Don't put too high kind of, sometimes we put so high expectations.
Be compassionate with yourself.
Exactly. Be empathetic with yourself. Be compassionate. It's okay, you don't have to be a superhero. Exactly. No, I think it's important, and that's how you can really, unleash also your potential, your impact, and because you're yourself, you feel good about it, and so on and so forth, right? So
Okay.
And another one, there was 2. Another one maybe would be, when you, at some point I applied for a job which I really wanted to have, which I didn't get. And that was also, it's a tough moment, because of course, when you apply to something, you say, oh, you do your best, right, to get there. And so it was also a great experience, because I really learned how to prepare myself for that, and building the network, getting to meet a lot of people to, get to know their feedback, their point of view on the role, and so on and so forth. And so that was a great journey. And then the outcome, of course, was, a little bit disappointing. But then you take it back again and you say, okay, so, for the next one, what am I going to do differently? And maybe, actually I didn't get that one, but I had another role at Microsoft, which was really, really super interesting. And I'm very grateful for, eventually having taken that path, right? So again, it's also, it is tough moments because you have a little bit of disappointment because you work hard and you put all your passion, your energy, to get there. But it is also great learnings, right? And that's what I'm very much half full glass, right? So in everything I do, so really looking at the positive things and what you learn from those experiences. And I think that's what, helps me also move forward and get to the next thing and so on, right? But that was at the very moment, not so enjoyable. But
at the moment, generally, it's very hard, and we feel like it's unfair in a way. And then we need some time, like everything in the world, we need the time to manage, to navigate, to think, to breathe fresh air, and say, okay, life is still here, we are still alive, and there's a lot of opportunity.
Yes, exactly. There's a lot of opportunities, and you always learn more about yourself, more about, again, the environment through those experiences.
Sure.
And so definitely it's taking the positive things out of it. And there's always a good thing that is coming next, right? I think that's, yes.
The question to Laurence is coming from Celian. He has 9 years and he's from Seattle, and he asked it. I'm so excited to know that you are working in the space of technology, and my dream is to create a startup with an innovative concept of gaming. Was it a dream to work in such great tech company for your case? And what are your advices to me for achieving my target?
So great that you have the passion for innovating, creating stuff around gaming and so on. That's great to hear. I was not, at your age, Celian, I was not like, I want to be in technology, not at all. I don't think I was really very clear about, where I wanted to go. I can't recall having like this kind of, really great clarity in my mind on this is what I want to do, right? But when I really started my studies in engineering school and so on, I started really enjoying very much learning about technology. And then it was all about that in my career, as you have seen, right? So, so it was not really, really deeply rooted, I would say, in my years, but it came later, certainly. So, some maybe advices I would say is nurture your creativity, right? So it's great you have ideas, and so try it. Whatever the age, right? And we know there are some amazing young people who come with very creative ideas and things. So just go for it, right? And try, and maybe you fail, and maybe you will try again, and then you'll do something bigger and greater and so on. So there's no such thing as a bad idea. I think this is really one thing you need to have clear in your mind, and then trying and testing things and yes, going through your creativity is certainly a strong advice I would give, and being curious and being a learner, right? So this appetite for learning, I think, is super important, super critical. I mean, the more we go, the more the society advances in transforming very rapidly, getting those new technologies. I mean, look at the climate, challenges we are going through and so on. So you have to be in this learner mindset all the time, I think, and certainly being in technology, you can't afford not to learn, not to be in a constant learning cycle, because otherwise you're just completely out of, the reality and the momentum. But so yes, go for your big ideas, Celian, and yes, they're trying.
Great. So we are approaching the end of our episode, and we have still the topic sustainable future. So as a cloud and digital business leader, Laurence, and decision maker and speaker, we would like to learn more about your vision about the sustainable future in exponential technology era. And we are listening too much about it, reading too much from great institutions. So now what about your vision The first question is, how looks the future of work? And I will mix it with the second question, how looks the future of education? And last one, 3 skills that we should acquire for this decade, 2020, 2030.
Lot of big questions in a few minutes. So I'll try to be very, very sharp and straight to the point. I think the future of work is going to be very different from what we have been used to. I think the COVID period has accelerated this transformation for sure. I think, I'm talking from home. I've been, I started in a new company at Google. I have never been to the offices. I have never met, my colleagues face to face and so on. It's weird, right? So we have to deal with that. And of course, this is creating some big transformation. So future of work, I would say it's going to be hybrid, definitely. It's going to be more collaborative. And it's going to be more focused on ensuring that your work-life balance is really taken care of, if I can put it like that. So of course, we are very privileged at Google. We are working in an environment where we are really putting a lot of care and focus on the well-being. Few things, I can share maybe, which I think are really paving the way for this future of work, are flexible work days, right? So 2 days at work, 3 days at home, or 3 days at home, 3 days at work, 2 days at home, right? So giving the flexibility to everyone to work from where you want and when you want is going to be certainly, one thing that will become a kind of more standard approach. And also the location. I think we start thinking about giving more choice around the work location for people. I mean, of course, when you have to meet customers, it's easier if you're close to them, right? But for
true.
people who have back office roles and so on, you could very much eventually, have your working location quite far away from an office and so on. So those are things we are really thinking about. I mean, there are even companies who are saying, you can work from a remote location for forever, which I think is a little bit of a challenge because you need this collaboration, you need these face-to-face interactions. I think we all miss it, right? So it's finding the right balance, but certainly we will be in a more hybrid world for sure on the way of working. And it's also linked, I think, to the future. You talk about the future of education. For me, it's going to be more balanced in terms of also what you learn when you are, in classrooms, what you learn when you are outside of classrooms, being more on the collective also aspect and collaborative aspect of learning. I think we're going to go through a big reshaping of how we learn and what we learn. And this notion of constant learning all along your career, I think is going to be more and more present in our lives, right? So it's education for everyone, but at any age. And going back to the example I gave earlier, being able maybe at 40 to say, I was a lawyer, I want to move into technology, I want to learn artificial intelligence, I want to transform completely what I'm doing. I mean, those are things that we will see more and more in the future, which we didn't see in the past. I mean, people were in a specialty and they were staying there for their entire career. Right now, you see more and more people changing, shifting. So the education has to also adjust and adapt to that kind of more agile working environment. And skills that you should acquire, artificial intelligence, it's a must. I think even if you don't work in technology, you have to understand how it works, what it does, how it can benefit to the society and to everybody. Learning to learn. Maybe I don't know if it's a skill, we are really learning.
It's a mindset. For me, it's a mindset.
Yes, and it's how your effectively curiosity, this kind of effectively appetite for discovering new things. And empathy, I think, is very important. So really looking at the others, putting yourself in the shoes of the others and really getting this empathetic skill. I think is going to become very important, especially in this world where, of course, we are moving more and more on digital environments and so on. And you can see that it matters, right? It's very important you have those skills of being empathetic and caring for the others.
Great. So, as a conclusion, we would like to know your biggest achievement so far, Laurence, and what's your next dream that you would love achieve?
Biggest achievement, wow. So biggest achievement maybe is to have been able to enjoy my career. I would say, every role I had, I was really very much enjoying, being very excited about it, learning a lot, and at the same time feeling that I'm doing a good job at home as well, right, with my kids, being there for them, and yes, being part of that. So that's, I think maybe my biggest achievement and joy, I would say, so far. And next dream, wow, it's I want to have an impact even more on the society. I want to continue to contribute on how technology can really help transform the society for good. So certainly continuing on the Silver Valley Association, what I can do to help and contribute there, and develop also a future that will be my future, right? So as becoming an elder person, I'm not there yet, but it will come, right? So definitely ensuring that I can really enjoy, all those great innovations we are going to develop for our future. And I think it's, one of the things I am dreaming about, and continuing to enjoy life and what I do every day, and working with great teams, which is, what brings the most of your days, of course.
It's great, Laurence, to listen to you. We feel that you enjoy your let's say work and professional part as you, or your involvement in social and your work balance and everything. Very nice, because we feel it in the episode as well. So it's my pleasure and it's our honor to have you today with us in AI Exponential Thinker in this episode.
Thanks to you. Thanks very much. I really enjoyed the conversation, and great program that you are running, Lobna, with that. So thanks a lot for.
Thank you, Laurence.